Is your brand lopsided? I mean, we've all got to be asking ourselves that question.
Awkward.
Awkward. And we're going to get into that today. So, what do I mean by having a lopsided brand? I think it's so easy, especially in the thought leader space, to have a brand that skews more toward your own personality, being a left brain or a right brain, than really finding that balanced option. And that balanced brand is really what we want to go for. So we're going to break that down for you a little bit today. I mean, Gretchen, if you were to explain a left brain brand, what does that mean for you, and what is the power of having left brain in your brand?
A left brain brand is one that skews more towards the logical and analytical side of things.
Definitely.
In terms of visuals, they're usually less pretty graphics and less emotional content. It's more facts and information. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of your tech brands are going to be like that, and that makes sense because their audience is a left brain audience, and they're going to be attracted to those facts and informational type content.
And if you're not familiar with this duo here, we are from Left Right Labs, and she is 100% the left brain in this operation.
Yep.
And the power of a right brain brand, I mean, that is really all about building connection. It could be emotional connection. It could be, in the way that you are expressing yourself visually. It can be done through music. There's all these different ways to pull it together. But the danger of going too far down the right brain lane is that it can become soupy. And so then people don't really feel like there's enough substance there to support it. So kind of finding that balance between the two
Yep.
of, do I have the systems? Do I have the structure along with the actual emotional connection? That is the key to a balanced brand. And I want you to ask yourself something. Think about, first of all, do you personally fall more into the left brain camp, that emotional or that analytical, logical side? Or do you fall more into that right brain camp, that creative, emotional connection side? Because that's going to help you realize some areas you might need to go back and like pepper in the other. But when we think about brands out there that skew very heavily left brain or right brain, the other part to consider is their audience. So, hello, if I'm talking to IBM, I mean that better be a left brain brand.
100% left brain.
But the thing that has to happen from the right brain side for IBM is there does have to be enough visual support of, here's the imagery of the computers, or here's the imagery of the items that you're actually getting that you're purchasing from IBM. There needs to be that reinforcement in that way. Testimonials would be another kind of right brain thing that gets pulled in to support something like IBM. So if we is using that IBM example, if you went to their website and they only had the tech data there, you're going to have information of what's available, but without testimonials, you don't have that emotional trigger to say, okay, this is supporting these other businesses in this way. It's helped them scale this way. You don't have that little switch that gets flipped to help you make that final purchase. So it's one of those things that having the balance of the two is going to make the overall brand so much more powerful. And if we go the opposite way, if we go to that right brain, and it's nothing but emotion and connection and fun, okay, yeah, you might enjoy it for a moment, but then you're going to get a freaking toothache, right? So there's got to be something to say, okay, not only can I connect with you emotionally or visually if it's a really beautiful, gorgeous brand, but it feels like the substance isn't there, then that pendulum is swinging all the way to the other side, and it's still not making the case for a balanced brand. And really, it's not making the case for supporting your audience the best way you could. So we want to help you think about some brands that do a really good job of being balanced, so you can look at that for yourself and say, okay, how am I using this? So when we think of a brand like Nike, this is a really good example of a
Yeah.
balanced brand. So that whole campaign, Just Do It. I mean, that is such a fantastic emotional attention grabber, right? It taps into motivation, it taps into perseverance, it taps into achievement. And that is definitely what athletes are driven by. But then from the left brain perspective, I mean, what is Nike doing well to bring that part of the balance in?
For that point, it's all about the data.
Yeah.
They've got high performance products. They're always on the cutting edge of technology. And they're always providing tools that are very appealing to the left brain people.
Yes, that's so true. Like they're really finding that way to reach both audiences. And then if we think of someone like Tesla, I mean, that's another one that really has a good balance. Regardless of how you feel about the founder, okay, let's leave that aside. When we think of Tesla, and especially when it first came on the scene, there's this like brilliance in thinking. Like that part feels left brain and right brain to me. Like there is this from the left brain side, like thinking so out of the box, but then being able to bring in the technology to support it. And from the right brain side, really having that like saving the planet, disrupting the status quo, really trying to set the bar at another level. So I think that's another brand that does a good job of balancing the two. Is there something about Tesla that really stands out to you on how it's balanced?
From the left brain side, I mean, again, it's a technology product.
True.
So it's going to attract a lot of the left brain people anyway. And they're, they've got some of the best engineers in the world working on these concepts and coming up with these ideas. So from the left brain perspective, that's the attraction to Tesla. But really, people buy into the idea they buy into the concept of Tesla.
Yeah.
And that's a right brain decision.
That's true.
Every sales decision it's made on emotion.
Yeah.
We like to think it's not. We like to think, oh, I thought it through. This is a rational.
You like to think, especially left brain.
I do, but in the end, there's some kind of emotion involved somewhere.
Yeah, it's so true. And this is so important because even Harvard studies show that 95% of purchase decisions are made in the subconscious mind. So that means if we are ignoring the right brain altogether, then the sale isn't going to happen, the impact isn't going to happen, and ultimately the transformation for the client isn't going to happen. So it's super important to have that balance of the two. Coca-Cola is another one of those ones that from the outside, you might expect it to only be a right brain brand, because when we look at the commercials, when we look at, the product packaging, when we look at the website, it's all really built around nostalgia, what we would call a muse archetype. So they are really there to think about emotional connection and happiness and togetherness. But for a brand that is especially leaning more into that emotional side, to have the longevity that Coca-Cola has had, you have to have that underlying support. Do you want to talk a little bit about the left brain part of Coca-Cola and how it's supported?
Well, I don't drink Coke.
Well,
I don't drink
neither
soda,
of us do,
but I'll admit I have a little white bear with with a little scarf. It's a little dancing thing. It's something we have at Christmas, and it's nostalgia. We got it a long time ago. Our kids loved it, and it's one of those things that every time you made a noise, it would start playing.
Oh, how cute!
The little jingle, and it would dance. And so, I mean, it's nostalgic. But from a left brain perspective, they are very market driven. They know exactly who their customer is. They know exactly how to market to them, and they run everything off of data. They don't just come up with a campaign and say, oh, well, let's just test this out.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they're testing, but they have strategically put that campaign together with a clear objective, and so they are very data driven.
Definitely. And that's really what supports that overall longevity. So recently we got to really test this whole concept of pulling that left brain and that right brain together. And we did this as we worked with a company called Des Bio. And they have been around for 30 years in the homeopathic space, making really powerful homeopathic products. So they are working with science. They are presenting their products to practitioners. So much of their brand for 30 years has really been based on the data, based on the science that they've been using.
Very left brain.
Very left brain, yeah. And based on the conversations that they were having with the doctors. And they're looking to expand their brand even more, even after all this, powerful longevity that they've had. And they were realizing, okay, we want to start having some different conversations. So we got to come together and really help them think about that. How do you fold in that right brain into this very left brain brand? So, digging in and doing that process really took them sitting down and thinking about, okay, how do we want to be known? What is our brand soul? How do we uncover that brand personality? That was a piece of it.
It was a very deep dive.
Yeah, very, very deep dive with their whole team, which was so fun. I mean, we're talking, 6 people in the room, all the key decision makers, and really discovering, even from these very left brain people, what is this reason that you care? What is this reason that you go deeper, and why this brand connects with other practitioners, why they come to you.
Because that's what sells the product.
100%.
It's not that, okay, they're great products.
Yes.
They don't, but that doesn't sell on its own.
Yes, yeah, you've got to have that emotional connection. So then there was really this concept that their team came up with of the power of three, and really how being able to fold in those three tiers of physical health, mental, emotional health, and energetic health, how that makes their product so different. And that was the hook. It's like, okay, now we have our platform for how to fold the right brain in. So then when we think about product pages and we think about sales pages, now they can really have a different kind of discussion. They can lead in with the power of three, which is that emotional connection that we all need, and then back it up with the data of the longevity of their company, of the 30 years that they've been doing this, of the incredible founders and names of people that they have impacted through their homeopathic products. So it's one of those things that can really change the trajectory for your brand and open up all new opportunities for you. So, it's super important for you to just nail that bottom line of let's get that brand blend in there. The left brain and the right brain, we're better together, friends.
I'm the left brain, you're the right brain.
Yes, sorry, I pointed to the wrong ones, but you're better together. Having those things there, you're able to connect with more people. You can show up as yourself and make sure that you're helping lead people along the way, and everybody has a way to connect to you. So it's super important. So I really challenge you to think about your own brand. Where are some areas where you might be leaning too much into the left brain or too much into the right brain? How can you back up your data with the emotional outcome, that transformation that someone gets on the other side?
You got to tell that story.
You really do. And from the other side, if you're a very right brain brand and you're very good at the emotional connection, how do you then also show them that there is structure to what you do that will get them to that transformation? It really all circles around that transformation at the end, and you have to make sure that you have the data from both sides to back it up.
Ultimately, you need a brand that makes people feel something.
Yes.
But also delivers results. So the feeling something in that feel good moment, that's the right brain. But delivering the results, they got to know that it works. That's the left brain, because we lefties, we're skeptical and we want to see those results. So we want to see that data. But you also, from the right brain, and everybody has a little of both. But from the right brain perspective, you've got to connect and you've got to feel something before you're going to make that purchase.
Yes, and not only do I want to feel something. I mean, I'm the right brain. I want to feel something and have that connection. But I also want to know, okay, this isn't just somebody who's really good at talking. Like, I want to know, let me see testimonials from other people. Let me see, sales numbers. Let me see something that's going to give me that little left brain scratch that I need.
Everybody looks for both
to make the decision.
Everybody looks for both, even if you're mostly right brain or mostly left brain. You're looking for both. You're looking for that emotional connection, or that something that I'm feeling good about this purchase. And Trina knows I don't like the word feel. Feel it, but you do need to feel good about your purchase, and then you also need to feel confident that you're going to get results from whatever that is you're purchasing.
Absolutely. It's that perfect blend. So something else I want you to think about, not just from the big idea of the brand, but even in your speaking. So when you are doing public speaking or a podcast or a webinar, making sure that you have some left brain stats along with right brain connection. And this is especially fun if you're getting to speak in front of a live audience, like milling around beforehand, getting to connect with people, hearing what they are interested in, and then being able to find stats that can fold into your talk. So like us referencing that Harvard study shows that this is not just our own idea. It's work that's been done outside of us. It is a trust builder. That is something that the left brain does very well. It's backing up exactly what happens. It's the lab part of Left Right Labs. There are actual data points that you can track and tap into. And then, when we're speaking, we also have to think about, if I'm only doing left brain data, if it's all these studies and it's all of these reference points and all of these percentages with no reason why they should care about those stats, then that's going to fall apart on the other end. So it's finding those little hooks that fold in. You still get to show up as yourself, but consider the audience and make sure that your brand is really thinking about who they are and what they need to interact with. So there's nothing wrong with having a brand that skews more left or right. but the best brands know how to fold in both pieces at the right points. So I think that's really something for you to consider if you want to learn more about how to create a balanced brand. I highly encourage you to read the blog posts that we've linked below, dive a little deeper into what that looks like, and really just ask yourself, where am I leaning too heavily in one direction or the other? And what can I and my team do to build that even more, to bring in that left brain or that right brain so that you have the dynamic duo, in your brand. That's what you got to do. Get out there, bring it together, and make something that matters. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.